That Crimson Executioner will torture you. Yes, will torture you till death.
What's up, Vault Dwellers? Dan here. So today, we're going to be ranking 13 of the sleaziest, goriest grindhouse films that ever played a Times Square flea pit at 2 a.m. And we're ranking them by their pure sleaze and gore factor. The more explicit, the more exploitive, the higher in the ranks. We're talking Italian morgue mutilations, Bonnie and Clyde sexploitation, holiday slashers soaked in neon, and Wes Craven's directorial debut that traumatized an entire generation. These are the films that made audiences walk out, got banned in multiple countries, and defined an era when cinema was actually dangerous. Number 13, it's British restraint. Number 1, it's just full-blown nightmare fuel that still shocks today. All right, let's get into it.
It's this train.
It's gonna crash.
What are you doing?
Well, the communication
Don't
cord.
be such a fool. It's the one where you might cause an accident. Sit down.
We can't all just sit here and wait.
Why have you done this? What do you want? Who are you?
This anthology film, it's the tamest thing on the list today. Peter Cushing plays a mysterious doctor. He's on a train and reads tarot cards that predict 5 passengers' horrific deaths.
Pardon me, I think there is room for one more in here, is there not?
Yes.
It's British, it's classy, and we get Christopher Lee who shows up later. The segments are super fun. Like, a severed hand, a werewolf, some creeping vines, and even some voodoo. But everything's restrained by 1965 British censorship standards. Amicus knew how to market this stuff as shocking horror for the raincoat crowd, even though it's just basically Twilight Zone with a bigger body count. The color is gorgeous, and Cushing and Lee, they just elevate everything, obviously. And some of the imagery, it's pretty unsettling for the time. The disembodied hand that's crawling around, it has nightmare potential even if there's barely any blood. This played grindhouses because it was affordable to book and had horror in the title to draw in the crowds. The anthology, believe it or not, it actually works, which is pretty rare. The framing device pays off, and the twist ending lands. And you also get 2 horror legends for the price of 1. It's a solid film that's not really sleazy or gory. It's a kind of movie you could actually show your mom. Everything else on this list, not so much. I know you clicked on this video not to see comedy, but this one has enough gore that's played for laughs to earn its spot on the list. Bear with me. So we've got a cheerleader camp that gets slaughtered, and then years later, another group shows up to get killed by a maniac in the jester costume. I mean, the movie's stupid, it's kind of broad, but hey, it's got Tom Smothers, Carol Kane, and a pre-famed Judge Reinhold stabbed with pom-poms. This actually played in grindhouses as a double feature with actual slashers because distributors knew, but the audience would appreciate the joke. The kills are cartoonish, but super enthusiastic. Like machete through the heads and death by trampoline. You even get a guy who gets impaled on a javelin. Director Alfred Soule made Alice, Sweet Alice, which it's a disturbing thriller before this one. So he knew the genre inside and out and was taking the piss out of it with this one. The gesture costume is creepy despite the comedy, and Carol Kane is doing her work here, man. And there's just something just very grindhouse about a movie that doesn't care if you think it's in bad taste. You need one movie where you can laugh instead of feeling like you need a shower.
Oh, hey.
How do we know she's really rich?
Don't worry. Her old man stole half the land in California.
You ignoramus. Didn't anybody ever tell you money isn't everything?
Only people like you with a guaranteed income.
Oh, you'll never get away with this. You know, my father's a lot smarter than you.
Roger Corman produced this Bonnie and Clyde ripoff with just everything you'd expect from New World Pictures back in the 70s. You know, cars, guns, robberies, and Angie Dickinson naked approximately every 15 minutes. She plays a Depression-era criminal mother who's dragging her two daughters into a life of crime. There are some shootouts, a whole bunch of sex scenes, and William Shatner just chewing the scenery. This is an action exploitation that played the same circuits as horror and delivered the same goods, you know, violence, nudity, and a complete disregard for good taste. Dickinson, who was 43 at the time, and clearly decided if she was going to do exploitation, she was going to go all in. This movie has energy to it though, right? I mean, the car chases, they're legitimately good, and the violence, it's like sudden and totally brutal. People get shot in the face in this one, a lot. The movie delivers on that promise, and then some. This is exploitation with craft, which is the New World Pictures sweet spot. While it's sleazy in the nudity department, it's not really gory. People get shot, but there's really not much blood. Still, this is just pure grindhouse in spirit. Cheap, fast, and just willing to show you anything.
You bet your ass I would. And you better move.
God
Damn it! I'm gonna fight you, Dennis. I'm gonna show you. Come on. How's Lou?
Joan Crawford with an axe. That's the movie, and that's the pitch. And William Castle, he delivered. You see, Crawford, she plays a woman released from an asylum 20 years after she murdered her husband and his mistress with an axe. And now people, they're getting axe murdered again. The violence is shockingly brutal for 1964. The opening murder is nasty, you know, heads rolling, blood spraying, and Crawford, she just committed to the madness. And she's incredible in this movie. And she plays it completely straight. There's no camp, just this damaged woman who might be losing it all over again. The black and white cinematography is stark and ugly in the best way possible. When the kills happen, they're just visceral. Castle used chocolate syrup for blood, you know, like everyone did back then, and he used a lot of it in this one. This is proto-slasher territory here. The killer's identity, the final girl concept, the body count structure, you know, Halloween and Friday the 13th totally owe a debt to this film. It also proved that fading stars, they would do just anything for a comeback, which led directly to the hagsploitation boom. While it's violent for 1964, it feels almost quaint compared to what came later. And Crawford's commitment to playing a possible axe murderer, it's something to behold. The slasher boom produced a lot of holiday trash, and New Year's Evil, it's pure sleaze. All right, you have a killer who calls a punk rock DJ and promises to murder someone at midnight in each time zone as New Year's hits. It's all right, it's dumb as hell, but it's got this like specific late 70s, early 80s neon aesthetic, and you've got some punk rock, a killer in a rubber mask, and some totally nasty kills. Roz Kelly plays the DJ, and the killer, he's kind of interesting. He's got some mommy issues, and his mask is this creepy blank face. The kills, they're not particularly gory compared to what else was happening in the 80s, but they are mean-spirited. What saves this from being completely forgettable? The movie captures this weird moment when punk was just hitting mainstream culture, and the soundtrack is just wall-to-wall new wave. Shadow was a real band who contributed songs, and their performance scenes, they're just like time capsule material. This is what the 80s looked like if you were walking around Sunset Boulevard after midnight. All right, get ready for this one. You've got a cursed, severed hand that possesses people and makes them kill. Yeah, that's it. That's the movie. This was shot in Mexico with American actors, including Samantha Eggar and Stuart Whitman, and this is just pure exploitation that commits so hard to the gore. This hand gets chopped off in a mine, then proceeds to attach itself to various people who then go on murder sprees before cutting it off and passing the curse along. The effects, they're pretty much the selling point here. When people cut this hand off, it's just graphic and unflinching. The hand itself, it looks ridiculous when it's going around, very much like Thing from the Addams Family. But when it's attached and making people violent, this movie gets nasty. There's a train sequence that's just particularly brutal. This is Mexican exploitation meeting American grindhouse sensibilities. It is dubbed, and the acting, it's atrocious, and the plot makes zero sense. And the ending, man, is just abrupt and unsatisfying. But the gore effects are surprisingly good for the budget. And there is something compelling about how seriously everyone tries to play this one. The movie itself, it's kind of boring between the kill scenes, but when it delivers on the splatter, it frickin' delivers. Italian giallo at its most psychological and disturbing. We have a woman who starts experiencing hallucinations, memories of childhood trauma resurface, and reality just breaks down completely. This isn't traditional gore here. It's a slow burn psychological horror. But when the violence comes, it's shocking and it's nasty.
You thought you'd be safe in your old bed?
We have drug use, sexual assault implications, ritualistic murder, and the ending is just pure nihilist horror. What makes this grindhouse worthy? It's how sleazy and transgressive it gets. The main character's psychological breakdown involves a lot of nudity, some surreal sexual imagery, and childhood trauma that's just deeply uncomfortable. The Italian exploitation filmmakers knew how to make you squirm without necessarily showing explicit gore. The title itself, it promises something perverse and this movie delivers. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful film about ugly things. The director creates this oppressive atmosphere where you never know what's real and what's a hallucination. The score is all dissonant strings and unsettling ambiance, and when the violence happens, it's sudden, it's brutal, and cutting through the dreamlike haze with just shocking reality. This is the art house end of Grindhouse. It played exploitation circuits, but it's also like legitimate psychological horror film. You can feel Polanski's influence here, especially with Repulsion. The final reveal, it's disturbing on multiple levels, and the movie doesn't offer any comfort or resolution.
Where did you get it?
It's mine. It's my favorite toy.
I had one just like it.
What the devil? Which injection did you...
This is Italian giallo set in a morgue. All right, we have a pathologist who starts having visions of the corpses she's examining, and then people around here are just dying in elaborate ways. This is where we get into the serious gore territory. The autopsy scenes, they're graphic and unflinching. We have real medical footage that's intercut with the stage scenes. You get to see bodies being cut open and organs on display. This is designed to make you feel uncomfortable, and boy does it succeed. Mimsy Farmer plays the protagonist, and she's haunted, vulnerable, and slowly losing her grip. The kills are pretty inventive and brutal. The film plays with your expectations about who's doing the killing, the why, and the final reveal that's super twisted. The atmosphere elevates this beyond just mere splatter. The more exciting does allow for all kinds of unsettling imagery, like bodies in drawers, covered faces suddenly revealed, and the clinical nature of death contrasted with violent murder.
Oh, Simona, dear, you have all my sympathy. That poor super.
This is giallo at its most morbid. The Italian filmmakers have this fascination with death and sexuality intertwined, and Autopsy, it just wallows in it. The psychosexual elements are perverse, the violence is explicit, and just this whole thing has this grimy exploitation feel, even though it is technically well made.
From the dead. I underestimated you, priest. You can work miracles, too.
Edgar, listen to me. I haven't come here to hurt you. I just want you to come down with me.
Well, since your first wife was found dead, a lot of very strange things have happened here.
What are you driving at?
Night of the Scorpion, also known as She Killed in Ecstasy. This is Jess Franco territory. It's a Swiss-Spanish exploitation that's heavy on nudity, light on plot, and just soaked in the sleeves. We have a doctor's wife who watches him get driven to suicide after a medical board ruins his career. And then she decides to seduce and murder every member of that board. It's basically a revenge thriller. But Franco being Franco, it's also softcore pornography with the occasional burst of violence. The kills aren't particularly elaborate, but they are mean. She seduces them, they think they're going to get lucky, and then she stabs them. What makes this grindhouse gold, it's the sheer amount of exploitation Franco crams in. You've got lesbian seduction scenes, multiple gratuitous sex scenes, and Howard Vernon showing up because he was in every Franco film. Franco's films, they're divisive, right? His defenders call him an auteur of exploitation. His detractors call him a hack. The truth, it's somewhere in between. And he made a ton of movies. Some were interesting, most were pretty boring, but all of them were sleazy. This one's actually entertaining because the revenge plot gives it structure, and the lead actress, Soledad Miranda, who's a Franco regular, is compelling even when the movie isn't. This epitomizes grindhouse. Cheap, sleazy, exploitive, but with just enough style to be memorable. Wow, you're still here. That means you're digging this descent into grindhouse depravity. So in that case, why don't you go hit the like button for me? That way everybody can find out about this video. And if you're not a subscriber, well, why the hell not? This channel's amazing, and we have more sleaze coming your way. Go hit that button too, okay?
Oh, there's my car.
No, I'd rather drive. Your car's too big.
All right, whatever you like.
Dare kill me. No!
This Spanish film, it's about a drifter who becomes a handyman at a house full of women. And then someone starts killing them and taking their body parts. This is nasty business here. The killer removes eyes, severs hands, and the film, it doesn't shy away from showing the aftermath. There's so much graphic violence with this one, sexual assault implications, and just a disturbing atmosphere throughout the whole thing. Paul Naschy stars in it, and he's fantastic at playing ambiguous characters who might be monsters, or they might be victims. The mystery structure keeps you guessing. There's a lot of red herrings, some false leads, and a final reveal that's both shocking and tragic. But the journey there is just soaked in exploitation. You know, gratuitous nudity, violence against women, and that specific European sleaze that American grindhouse could only aspire to. The title refers to the killer's obsession with a specific victim's blue eyes, and when the plotline pays off, it's deeply creepy. The cinematography is murky and oppressive, you know, lots of shadows, grimy interiors, and a sense that something terrible is just always about to happen. It's not stylish murder like Argento, it's just brutal and ugly. This is the full grindhouse package. Exploitation with just enough craft to be memorable. All right, we've got Franco again, and this time he's making something just super unpleasant here. This was known as Blood Moon, also as The Bloody Moon, and it's a slasher set at a language school in Spain where a disfigured man, he may or may not be killing the students. The gore is pretty extreme with this one. Like, famously, there's this woman who gets her head cut off with a circular saw, and someone's killed with hedge cutters. I mean, Franco, he went really hard on a splatter with this movie. This was one of UK's video nasties. You know, the films that were banned during the moral panic of the early 80s. And honestly, you can see why.
It's you. The guy from the train.
The violence is graphic, misogynist, and just relentless. Yeah, you know, there's some incest, sexual assault, and a protagonist you just can't root for. It's grimy exploitation that exists solely to shock, and it succeeds. The plot just barely holds together here. Franco, he was never big on coherent storytelling, but the kills, they are memorable, and Franco shoots it with this just leering, nasty gaze that makes everything feel transgressive. Is this a good movie? I'd say no. Is it effective grindhouse? Yeah, absolutely. This is what the parents of the 80s thought all horror movies were: sadistic, exploitive trash designed to corrupt the youth. And they weren't entirely wrong with this movie. Franco knew what he was selling here, and he just delivered it without any apologies. The gore is extreme, and the sleaze is pervasive, just pure exploitation, which has no redeeming qualities.
Horrible death. I've got to get her down from here. Edith, go find the others. Hurry up. You've got to get out of the castle at once. At once.
No, Rick, no. Not without you.
Do what I tell you.
Bloody Pit of Horror is an Italian Gothic horror about a photographer and some models who visit a castle to shoot a photo spread, only to discover the owner is a madman who believes he's the reincarnation of the Crimson Executioner. He then proceeds to torture and kill them using medieval torture devices. This is where Italian exploitation, I guess it really found its voice. You know, like Baroque, Gothic settings, sadistic violence, and just a complete disregard for logic here. The kills are, they're elaborate and very nasty. You know, there's the spike room, the infamous Iron Maiden, you've got a rack, there's a spider web that slowly constricts. I mean, these aren't quick deaths. They're prolonged torture scenes that revel in the suffering. The movie is also just campy as hell. The lead actor is a bodybuilder who poses constantly and delivers every line like he's in a muscle magazine. But the violence is played completely straight, which creates this surreal tonal clash. The sheer amount of sadistic content makes this one kind of special. This is torture porn before the term even existed. Every kill is designed to maximize suffering, and the camera just lingers on the victims in pain. This played grindhouses for years because it delivered exactly what the title promised: a bloody pit of horror. It's super trashy, it's so exploitive, and it's got Mickey Hargitay in a leather executioner's outfit flexing while people are screaming.
That's just a small portion of the torture that awaits you. I promise you that none will escape the wrath.
I told you she wasn't going far.
All right, folks, this is it. It's our number one. It's the grindhouse movie that defined an era and traumatized a generation. Last House on the Left is about two teenage girls who get abducted by a gang of criminals, and what follows, it's one of the most disturbing sequences ever put on film. And then, in a twist of fate, these criminals end up staying at one of the girls' houses, and the parents discover what happened. Then they take their devastating revenge. This movie is brutal, unflinching, and designed to shake you to the core. Wes Craven, this was his directorial debut. It was shot on 16mm in the Connecticut woods, and it looks disturbingly real. It's super grainy, and it has that documentary feel to it, which makes everything hit so much harder. The violence, it doesn't cut away. It doesn't soften things in this film. When the parents get their revenge, the film asks some uncomfortable questions about how far we'd go and who we'd become. This played like every grindhouse in America and got banned in multiple countries. The MPAA gave it an X rating, newspapers condemned it, parents were protesting outside the theaters, and audiences, they just kept showing up because they'd never experienced anything this raw before. The tagline, to avoid fainting, keep repeating it's only a movie. And guess what? People were walking out, getting physically ill, or just sitting in stunned silence. You see, you don't enjoy Last House on the Left. You endure it. Nothing else on this list pushed boundaries this far or left audiences this shaken. These are some of the films that defined grindhouse sleaze and just proved exploitation cinema. It could go anywhere and it could show anything. If you made it through the whole countdown, congratulations. Now go drop a comment with the sleaziest grindhouse film you've ever seen. And maybe even subscribe for more cult cinema archaeology. Keep it weird, folks.
What are you going to do with the hand?
In a word, it's your gift. You set it free.
What did I do?
That monster is the voodoo, goddamn violent.